Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Pitchlight Chronicles, where fans become family. I am Uncle Tats. I am here with Rubinho. And the weekend that wasn't, as far as the headlines, just more speculative rumors, bullshit accounts wanting to make a name for themselves. But there is still a little bit momentum going where I think that the Bellinger door is still wide open. I think the room for Walker, I think that avenue is still available. And there also seems to be some mild traction on the news with Pete Alonso also for first base. Bregman's still available. I mean, the options are unlimited on where the Yankees can go to round out this rotation, fill some holes. And I'm still going to say that I think Bellinger is the move to go because it still gives you an option whether you want to go and improve your outfield or you still want to add a first baseman. He kind of gives you that wiggle room in negotiations where you're not hard pressed for one position or another. Rob, how you feeling about really that Bellinger is kind of that's the guy to get first, and then you can figure out what your next move is.
Yeah, that should be the way they've been going the whole time. It's just a matter of, I think it's a matter of when, not if. We're the only team that's been linked to the guy, and the Cubs are trying to, especially now that they have Kyle Tucker. I mean, they have no choice really. There's nowhere to put him because their outfield's pretty set. Tucker, Suzuki, Pete Crow Armstrong. They still have Ian Happ, who I love, but they have Bush at first. They don't really need Bellinger at this point, so it's just a matter of the money. That's what John Heyman's saying, and I'm going to listen to John Heyman before I listen to Hector Gomez. Um, I'm hoping it gets done soon because it feels like we've been waiting for a week now, just these Bellinger talks, and I'm hoping the Yankees did make another move. We'll talk about that, but you hope that Bellinger's one addition to this lineup and that they can go get a first baseman. I'd prefer Bellinger in the outfield, not at first base, although I know he can play first unless they were to get another big outfielder in a trade or they sign one. Um, yeah, I think Bellinger's best suited in the outfield for us, and he'd be a big lefty bat. I know he's not coming off the best season, but we're talking about a lineup right now that we don't have a left fielder, and DJ LeMahieu would be our first baseman. So we need a guy like Bellinger, absolutely need him. So I don't want to see this discourse online like he's Alex Verdugo. No, he's not.
Mm-mm.
He's not Verdugo. He's a better bat than Verdugo by far, and he's a perfectly good glove out there in center field or if they put him in left. I think it's a move you have to make. It's just a matter of figuring out the financials, and hopefully they do it soon because I'm sick of seeing all these fake accounts saying it's close and people believing it. I need one of the big guys to say it's done, and we can finally have something to talk about instead of speculation.
Yeah, I think the only there's the fake Jeff Passan account that kind of started the whole thing, um, which made things a lot worse. But I do think that it's to that point where it really is just coming down to the money. I think everything else has been ironed out. It's who's going to eat what on the contract that's remaining. And I think once they do get that figured out, then you're going to see the announcement from the big guys on Twitter, X, whatever you guys want to call it. So that's when the passing Jack Curry, Heyman, Nightingale, they're the ones that are going to start pushing the story a lot more with full force. But the other story that is the one move that's already been done. Let's get into that. And the Yankees did make a trade for a closer. They did have to get rid of Nestor Cortez, which we made the assumption that he was going to be one of the starters that was very flexible to move on from. Still had one more year until free agency, so it was it's just arbitration money that they're going to be saving on. And they also had to move Caleb Durbin, and I think that's the high. Aside from Devin Williams, I think let's talk about the impact of moving on from Caleb Durbin, because he was the guy that we were really looking forward to seeing in spring training, and really trying to evaluate what he was going to be in this club after having a very solid fall league and all the hype going into the next season to see how his development was really coming to fruition. I don't think it's a huge loss, but it is kind of a hit to the farm system. Because we were talking about how much do you put into faith with your other guys. And just a little ping on the MLB right now. But I don't think it's going to really set the Yankees back as much as I originally thought. After having a couple of days to kind of digest it, and the fact that we did get a closer out of it.
I'm not going to miss Caleb Durbin much at all. I know he was exciting with the speed, and he's a tiny little fella, and you got that going for you, but you have to make this trade. We didn't have a closer.
Yeah.
I know Weaver was fine in that role last year, but then who was going to set up for him? This makes the most sense. Nestor had to be moved. They weren't going to extend him. He wasn't even part of the rotation, especially after the Max Fried signing. So it made all the sense in the world, and we have plenty of infielders that are ready, close to ready, and are going to be ready in the next couple of years. That we turned Lucas Litke into Devin Williams, essentially, with this trade. So I'm not going to complain about it. This is a deal you have to make. I wish Donald was here because I can shout him out. He's the one who had this prediction, Nestor Cortez, and I think he said Will Warren, but he was pretty spot on by saying Cortez for Williams, and that's exactly what happened. The money is identical. It makes sense. The Yankees don't add any money, although they did give him some cash considerations, but not a ton of money is being lost here, and we beefed up the bullpen in the process. So it goes into the run prevention way they're operating right now, and it's the first step or second step post Soto. You upgraded the rotation, you upgraded the bullpen. Now you got to get some bats and some good gloves, and you've executed life without Juan Soto effectively. So it's a great move. Ideally, they can extend him, but we'll wait and see. He's a fantastic closer. I know he has that big home run by Alonso against him, but an absolutely necessary move. We had a surplus of starters. We needed a bullpen arm, a closer specifically. We now finally have that in Devin Williams. There should be no discussion about closer by committee. Even if we got a Tanner Scott or a Carlos Estevez, this guy should be our closer. He's one of the best in baseball over the last 3 or 4 years or something like that. It's a no-brainer. And I like Durbin. I wish him well. I wish Nestor well. But you're telling me we can get an all-star closer for Nestor Cortez and Caleb Durbin, who's just an Arizona Fall League highlight right now. You got to make that trade.
Yeah, the more I was digesting it is the fact that we were able to really get a legitimate arm, because Nestor really wasn't the value in the trade. It really was Durbin. That's my opinion on it. Because with the years of control, Nestor's only 1 year. You still have all of this, with Durbin, who's already 25 and still is yet to make the major league roster. Was he on the cusp of doing so? I think he would. But it was very smart by the Yankees because of the way that we've always seen these guys come up and not play to the same hype of when they were in the minor leagues. We've seen this too often. So the fact that we're able to sell high on a guy and strike while the iron was hot, I think it was a brilliant move by the Yankees. I think Cashman really did a good job putting this trade together because, again, what we kept saying, booster up the bullpen. And that's exactly what he did. He didn't worry about another starter. He's got Fried, which I'm kind of curious on what's the holdup with it being official. We can get into that at some point this week and see how that story progresses. But I think the bullpen move, the getting a closer, and there's no disrespect towards Luke Weaver. He was phenomenal. He showed up when we needed it. But I think he's better suited in that eighth inning guy, along with Williams. And if they have to use Williams a couple days in a row, at least you have somebody you can rely on to take over for a closing spot for a day or so here and there. I think the Yankees really, it strengthened the pitching absolutely tenfold.
Yeah, we need to do that. You need to shorten games. If you're not going to have the offense that you had last year. Even if you sign Santander and Pete Alonso, you're sacrificing a lot of defense for hopefully repeat performances. I don't think the Yankees go that route with Santander unless he's the only option out there. But this made sense, and it gives them still plenty of financial flexibility to add a Bellinger, Go get a bullpen arm. We need lefties. I think it was brought up just a bit ago by Graham. We need lefties. We don't have any. So go get Tim Hill back. Go bring in Tanner Scott. We have the money for that now. You can still go get a first baseman and 2 bullpen arms and get Bellinger, especially if we move Marcus Stroman, which we should. This is the life without Juan Soto, and this is plan B, and so far it's been executed pretty well. We have to get a good defense. I know Alonso and Santander, Teoscar Hernandez, those are big bats, but the Yankees have to shorten games. The good thing is the defensive first players that are available are also good bats. Bellinger's a good bat. Christian Walker's a great bat. Nathaniel Lowe is a fine bat. These are all guys that can check both boxes for you. So I love that there's a bunch of options out there that the Yankees can execute defense first and run prevention and still make upgrades to this team. We're not going to be the same offense we were last year. We know that. And Graham, I'm in total agreement with you. I was in NFE's chat yesterday. I said that if the A's want to keep adding payroll, they need pitching. See if they'll take Stroman. Eat some of that contract and give up Marcus Stroman. The A's might do it now. For some reason, the A's have decided they want to spend money. No, John, they're not done dealing because it's December 16th, and there's still a good 2 months to go until spring training. Let's hold our horses on saying they're done. There's no way they're done because they don't have an offense right now. So let's just wait and see what they do. There's going to be a dead period between Christmas and New Year's, so if we do get things done, it might happen within the next 9 days, which would be ideal. So there's something to talk about before we take, I'm assuming, a little time off for Christmas. Let's just hope that some deals get done, man. And a good thing is for the Yankees, none of their top targets are off the board. Obviously, Soto was their top target, but everybody else that was part of that plan B, they're all still available. So patience. I know we all want to move to get done, but they are far from done. You're right, Medina. And it's just a waiting game. I think Bellinger, they're waiting for that domino to fall, but Cashman said he was being interviewed by Hoke. He said his phone kept buzzing because there's still moves that they're being worked on. So let's just wait and see. Cashman sometimes works best in silence, and he kind of moves like a ninja. Ninja Cashman, remember? No one saw the Devin Williams move coming.
Yep. Nobody but Donald. And speaking of Donald has made it to the show. What's going on, Donald?
Salute. Sorry about the mechanical issues.
Oh, it's all good. Now, what's your take on the move that was made over the weekend with Devin Williams going into it and the holdup on the Bellinger?
Well, I love the Williams deal. As you guys know, that was the deal that I was recommending they make. I was saying Nestor Cortez for Williams is a wash in terms of money, so it works, and you get the upside of having a closer. And now you have 2 elite guys at the back end of the bullpen. So either or, you're not going to lose. If you want to go Weaver a closer, it's understandable, but I think he's better now to be like a multi-inning 7th and 8th inning guy, and then you pass it off to Williams in the 9th inning, and then you're absolutely laughing. Williams is awesome. As I say, that was the dude that I was recommending. In our, I do recommend anyone who hasn't watched it, go check out our before and after Soto recommendations, and I think you guys will find that a lot of the things that we recommended are a lot of the things that Brian Cashman's doing right now. So it means that we're on the right track, and it sure as hell means that Brian Cashman's on the right track too, I think. Because I think the deals are smart. I think Max Fried is a great pickup, and Williams is an awesome pickup. So now we've really, really, really worked on run prevention. Now we need to get some offense in there. The market is still very, very open. There's not really too many guys that have gone off the board. We'll obviously get into Tucker down the line in this podcast, but as for Bellinger, I think the Yankees don't view him as a $26 million player, so they're trying to get the Cubs to eat $10 million, which is understandable. If you can get that number down to 16, 17, that gives us more money to play with. The Cubs have to move him, so it's really a case of who blinks first. I think I think the Yankees hold the cards in the negotiations, and that's why they're quite comfortable letting this play out. And by no means is he the be-all and end-all. Like, there's other options.
Yeah.
So I think the Yankees are right not to just go, all right, we'll take all that money. We did that with Josh Donaldson. Look how that worked out. So let's see if we can get the Cubs to eat up a portion of that contract, and I'd feel a lot better about it. I still think Bellinger's going to be a good pickup. I know, obviously, his XG isn't great. His analytics aren't great, but I think his numbers are fine, and I think his numbers are gonna play up at Yankee Stadium. So I still think that's a good move, and I think he'd be an upgrade over Verdugo if he played in the outfield, and he'd certainly be an upgrade at first base if we moved him at first base. So I like that deal. We just need to be patient with it. I wonder who would go the other way. That'd be my question.
Who are the Cubs asking for? I don't know who they'd be asking for. I would have thought they would have maybe Nestor, just because they're not going to want Stroman back, and Nestor was the other starter that was kind of dangling in the wind a little bit. I think it's going to be like maybe a Will Warren.
That'd be great.
But I think they're going to want something with more substance. I'm just not sure which direction that they're looking to fill right now.
Well, they can't get everything they're asking for. They're asking for the Yankees to not – they want the Yankees to take the whole contract, and they want more in return. Eventually, there's going to have to be a compromise there. If the Yankees get them to eat more money, then we can give up more prospects. If the Yankees have to take on more money, then they're probably going to get one or two players. Or the Yankees can get them to add Nico Horner to the deal. I'd be willing to take on all of Bellinger's money if we got Nico Horner, but that's easier said than done because Nico Horner could easily start for the Cubs opening day if he's healthy, which I think he should be ready. But if you're talking about run prevention, there's few guys that are better than Nico Horner at second base. That dude is a legit defender, and he's kind of the bat you'd hope that Caleb Durbin would turn into. Gets on base, steals bases. He's not going to hit for power, although Durbin probably has some more pop, but he could be what you hope Durbin would turn into. I would love it if the Yankees can get Horner in that trade, and I'd be more than willing to take on Bellinger's money. But at the same time, Bellinger today on the open market would not get $27 million, and I think that's what the Yankees are trying to convince the Cubs about. It's like no one's giving that guy 27, or else he would have opted out. So that's why you have this stalemate. But I think a deal will get done eventually, hopefully sooner than later, because I'm sick of waiting. But Cashman has to be patient here. He can't just overpay for a guy simply because he needs him. So
that's why I still think the deal is pretty much ironed out. It really is just the financials at this point.
I think so too.
I think that's just where I think they've decided that they're able to do business. I think they feel like both sides can win in this. It's just all about the money right now. And once they get that ironed out, the announcement will come from one of the big guys, one of the bigger beat writers.
I think it means that Jazz Chisholm's moving to second base now that Caleb Durbin has been moved in the Williams deal. I think it means Jazz goes to second and possibly opens the Yankees up to get Bregman for third.
I think Bregman's kind of. I think he's at the end of his prime. I just don't see. I don't see a lot of production from him. Past maybe some defensive plays. I think he still has a pretty decent bat, but I don't get a good feeling about getting Bregman at this stage of his career. I really don't.
He's 30. I mean, he's not at the end of his career. He's 30 years old isn't that bad.
No, there's just something about it, and it's nothing to do with the past. I've already said that. I think it's more he's going to want he's going to want one last contract. It's going to be a long contract. He's not going to come for 3 years. He's going to want 5 years. And then it's at the end of that is when we're going to be in the same situation we are with LeMahieu. Where we're stuck with a player that's kind of, actually it means more like a Rizzo. where one injury can just kind of put everything, put the brakes on everything.
Question, Tat.
Yeah.
Had he had the same year as you had in 2023, would you still say the same thing? Because in 2023, he had almost 100 RBIs, with 98 RBIs and 262 batting average. Would you still say absolutely not to Alex Bregman? Because 24, the drop, the dip, not batting average wise, the same batting average, but the RBIs dropped to about 75. But would you still say the same thing, that he's basically cooked?
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I really don't. I don't even know.
Good for thought. Rob, give me your thoughts on
I'm not
Bregman.
saying you're wrong. It's just a gut feeling of mine. That's all. I can't. It's something I can't put numbers. It's just something that just tells me that the Yankees would regret it.
Okay.
That's a risk you take with every free agent, though.
Yeah.
If let's just say we got Bregman for 7 years, you can say, well, that's going to be like Ellsbury all over again. Or if we got Alonso for 8 years, you wonder about regression. If you got Christian Walker for 3 or 4 years, you worry about his age. No matter who you're signing, there's a risk. I don't necessarily want Bregman because I want to keep Jazz at third. I think that arm is too good, and he looked fine over there, and I think with the more work he puts in, he could be a good third baseman. I'd prefer them to sign a first baseman and just let Peraza and Vivas battle it out for second. That's my preference, but it does seem like there's a lot of smoke to the Bregman stuff. They've been linked heavily more to him than they were to the other first baseman. So we'll wait and see. But I wouldn't be too opposed to it. But I would rather them go get a first baseman if they're going to sign a free agent.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that I'm all in on Bregman. I'm just kind of giving it another. He's just another option. But for instance, if you look at his savant and his analytics, they're pretty good. So his fielding run value is considered great. It's in the 81 percentile. His range is in the 91st percentile. So you're basically getting elite defense at third base. So again, we're very much focused on run prevention here. I think that's the name of the offseason so far, right? Plus, really good chase rate, 82nd percentile, squared up percentage, 96th percentile, which means he squares up to the ball better than almost anyone in the league. So he's in the top 4 percentile. And that he doesn't strike out, 98th percentile and 94th percentile. So he doesn't strike out whatsoever. That's great. And he squares up to the ball great. And he gives you elite defense. And his offense is above average. It's considered above average. So, I mean, what my point is, and it's very much similar to Rob's point, is that the perfect free agent doesn't exist. Not now. Not in this current market.
Yeah.
Well, no, we the perfect free agent was almost Juan Soto. I mean, you're talking about a 26-year-old. That was as close to a lock as a free agent as you can get. Although his defense was terrible and atrocious, and he's a diva. But as in terms of production, that's absolutely as close to perfection as it gets for a free agent. That's gone now. So now we need to focus on the B tier or the A- tier. And the A- B plus tier, Bregman falls in that category. Alonso falls in that category. Possibly Walker. Walker's thereabouts. I just don't like that age at 33 years old. If he was 30, 31, then I think he'd probably be signed already as a Yankee, because I just think 33 is just a little stretching a little bit too much. But those are the kind of guys that are still available that you can very much put together a decent offense. And if you can get in like a Bellinger and on a first baseman / Bregman, our offense is actually going to be fine, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the other the hindrance in this free agency now is these guys are already in their 30s. About 95% of the free agents. That's what made Soto such a unicorn at 26. And you're very that's going to become a once in a generation type of availability for that to acquire. So yeah, there's not going to be a perfect free agent. But as much as I'm trying to talk myself out of Bregman, look to your guys, like if they made the Bregman trade, if they signed them, am I going to be one of those fans that just go, oh, what a stupid? No, it's not a stupid move. It's just not going to. It's really not on. It's a move that's not on my radar. Like I think there are other things we can do. I'd rather get a second baseman and leave Jazz at third. I think that'd be the smartest way to really align your defense is leave that arm at third base. Get your first baseman that actually has a good glove at first, which is where Walker comes in. But Walker also has the age, so there's no perfect match to solve all these problems.
Well, the thing is, with the age, if you get Bregman for 8 years, he'll be the same age as Walker after a 4-year deal. So I don't think any of these guys are going to take low year deals. Like there was the rumors that Alonso would take lower years for higher AAV, but then what are you going to do? Pay the guy $35 million? So there's a risk to everything here. And I agree. I mean, first of all, I don't know how we haven't said hello to the chat yet. It's almost a half an hour in. Well over 100 people. And just want to say hello to everybody. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button because we are closing in on the 1K mark. You can see Donald's name there. It says 1K. Let's go. We're trying to push to it. Hopefully we get to it before the spring begins. But, hey, we're closing in. And
we will.
It's a fun time here. So join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that join button. And you can be a member of the family as well. So hello to everybody in the chat. And we've been having some great discussion here, but I'll say one thing. I swear to God, if I see one more person recommend moving Volpe to second, I'm going to lose my mind. He's not going to second base. They are not doing that for Oswald Peraza. You're going to tell me all of a sudden now, after 3 years of not using the kid, now they feel Peraza's the answer at short? No. Volpe's not going anywhere. He's perfectly fine at short. He was a Gold Glove winner. Ken Claus at it again with 5 more gifted memberships. He continues to give here as we get closer to Christmas. So thank you once again to Ken Claus. It's awesome. Ken's just doing great things here in the holiday season. So welcome to the 5 new members. I think you got to go run prevention. And Ken brought up a great point when he added Fried, ground ball pitcher. You need defense. So Nico Horner would make sense. Christian Walker would make sense. Volpe's fine where he is, and Jazz having a good first baseman to throw to can only help him out.
But Bregman makes sense as well.
Bregman does make sense.
91 percentile defense.
Who's going to be at first though? Like we need a first baseman as well. And if you put Bellinger there, that's fine. But then who's going to play left field?
Well, I mean, I think that we probably need 3 bats anyway. Let's be honest. It might not be 3 high-priced bats, but we probably need 3 bats in the just to even feel that we can come up with requisite value after losing Soto. So all that is very much on the table. That's probably why the Yankees don't want to eat all $26 million per year of Bailey's contract, because you do have to address other areas of the offense. Don't get me wrong. I think we do need about 3 bats. Legit. Two legit productive bats and at least another one too to feel confident that we can be a decent offense. So there's a lot of work to do, but I mean, I actually like the way this offseason's going. And I never thought I would say that after what happened last Sunday. I actually quite like it. I love the moves that they made. Fried and Williams are excellent, and I like that the Yankees are all in on. There's not a name that they're not out on, that they're not in on. I think the Yankees are very active on everything. So, and they're even very active in trade talks. So I think they're open to anything that makes them better. The Tucker thing, that's just a case of. It's just not smart to give up $4 4/5 years of control for a Rookie of the Year pitcher that could potentially be your ace in 2 years' time. That just isn't smart for a rental. So, I mean, you could argue on that. I know a lot of people really wanted Tucker, and I get it, but I just don't think that's smart business because years exist after this year. It's not just this year that we're playing. So I just think that would have been really bad business and really kind of stupid panicking ball. So they're not panicking. You can still get him next year if he tests free agency, as long as he doesn't extend with the Cubs. Then we can get him next year. This year, I think the Yankees have the right focus, the right plan, and then they can still upgrade. You can sign it Pete Alonso if he falls in our lap, because I think there's a possibility there. There's something there. Other than that, you could make a trade for the Yankees have been linked with Naylor.
I think the whole thing. I want to get into this, the issue with Tucker real quick, but I think it was actually a really brilliant move by both teams. Houston tried capitalizing on the Yankees just losing Soto, desperate to try to sense a sense of desperation to make an impact move to kind of revitalize their own mojo, and ask for a guy that the Yankees were really not willing to part with. And look, if you don't ask for it, you can't get it. What if Heel wants to to go over there? But I think, like we talked about the other day with Tucker, if he has more than 1 year left of control, I think that deal would have been made. I think they would have accepted the trade offer. And we would have lost Heel. But not for a 1 year rental. I don't think, and I give credit Cashman for not, kind of panicking and being like, I have to do something. I need the back page. So I give both teams credit that one tried feasting on a team's desperation, and one team was like, you're not going to fool me like that.
I mean, it depends on who you believe. I believe Jack Curry. He said the Yankees didn't want to trade Luis Heel, and I don't blame him. I personally, I would have done it because I wanted Kyle Tucker bad, but I completely understand the Yankees' reluctance to give him up in a trade. They also wanted Lombard, so I mean, I'm sure the Yankees were like, no, not for 1 year. They're not going to do that again, and I get it. So now it's about who can you get that would give you what Tucker can bring you, which is great offense and great defense. I guess Bellinger's the closest thing.
Well, that's why I keep going to where I think the move for Bellinger is closer to being finished than we thought. Otherwise, he might have had no choice but to bite on Tucker.
Well, I think they were trying to get both because there's a lot of people are saying they want Bellinger at first, but I prefer Bellinger in the outfield. Bellinger, Dominguez, Judge, and you can get an infield of, hey, his name's starting to get thrown around there. Nathaniel Lowe is starting to get talked about, and I'm loving it. The hype train is finally starting to commence. The agenda is beginning. Nathaniel Lowe to the Bronx. Can we get that? That would be my ideal choice at first base. 2 years of control, lefty bat, great glove, Gold Glove runner-up behind Santana this year, and he'd cost you just prospects and like $10.5 million on the payroll. Sign me up. He's been my top choice since day one. I didn't know if Texas would actually trade him. If we can get that guy, that would solve so many problems, and we'd still have plenty of money to go get some relief pitchers to add to this bullpen, preferably lefties. The options are out there. That's the good thing. None of the big options are gone besides Soto and now Tucker. Luckily for the Yankees, there's several avenues they can take to improve this team, but I think they have to keep the run prevention idea and make sure they're adding players that can give them both defense and offense. Because if you want just offense, then Santander would be a Yankee by now.
The only thing about Lowe is that he's going to give you he's about 18 home run guy. So I think we need more power now. Now that the moves have transpired where Tucker's not happening and we lost Soto and stuff like that. Bellinger and Lowe isn't enough offense. Not nearly enough offense. So it would need to be Lowe plus a power bat, like a Santander maybe. Um, we need at least one power bat that's going to give you minimum 30 home runs. We do need that. So that's what I'm thinking. As for Kyle Tucker, yeah, listen, I just think that's just really bad business to give up Lombard plus Luis Gil. Luis Gil, if you look at our rotation, Rodon is what he is. I think he's a third starter at the most, fourth starter. I wouldn't say the contract's a bust, but it's not great. Okay, it's fine. He's no more than fine in my opinion. So you've got Fried and Cole at the top of the rotation. They're fantastic. But Garrett Cole getting close to mid-30s. Okay, so you're not guaranteed that in 2 years' time Garrett Cole is going to be an ace, the same ace that he won a Cy Young with. So that's where you want a Luis Gil in there that has the ace caliber stuff, and you've got him under team control for at least 4 years. That's something that you want there, and it means that if there's any issues where like Cole maybe needs to rest his arm for a month or so, then we're not going to lose anything from the rotation because you got Luis Gil there. I just think it's just too smart just to keep a hold of him, man. That rotation is now serious. It's probably the best rotation we've ever had since like the 90s. You could argue that, man, because that is like the top three is like absolute beast, and I like that. As for the offense, I'm warming. I mean, I was completely out on Santander, and I was completely out on Alonso, and completely out on Walker. But as you're seeing things are progressing, I'm starting to warm to. I wouldn't totally hate on Alonso. Just not my first choice, but I wouldn't totally hate it. I think it'd be kind of fun to have like that kind of power in there beside Judge. I think that would be kind of fun. So I wouldn't totally dismiss that, but I don't think it's likely. Santander seems more likely. And I think the Yankees like Santander's profile at first base more than the outfield.
Yeah, but that's a risk though, because he's not good at anywhere you put him. He's not a good defender.
But neither is Alonso. Alonso's the worst first baseman defensively you can get.
That's why I want Nathaniel Lowe or Christian Walker, because we need a good first baseman. Remember how bad it was with Luke Voit, but how good it was with Teixeira and Rizzo before he had the concussion? Right. It makes everyone's life so much easier. Christian Walker, he's the best first baseman in baseball, defensively. You're not going to find anyone better than that, really. Lowe is great. Santana is still very good defensively, but you got to worry about Santana. He's 38 now, 39, so you got to worry, is he going to be able to replicate that? I feel like Christian Walker on a 3-year deal isn't as risky as people think it is, because you'd probably have to give Alonso 7 or 8. You'd probably have to give Bregman 7 or 8. Santander might get 6 or more. These guys are all going to be old by the time their contract ends, so it's not like there's more risk with Walker, because he's had 3 straight seasons of 20-plus homers, 800 OPS, fantastic defense. I would prefer a defensive first baseman that can also hit, and that's Christian Walker. Now, he's a righty. I would like a lefty. And you know what, NFE? If it comes down to it, if you can get him to agree to 3 with an option, you might have to go that route. Because Christian Walker's going to give you a big bat. I don't want to underestimate what he is offensively. He's very good offensively, along with being a Gold Glove caliber first baseman, a Gold Glover 3 straight years in a row. So it's hard to find someone better than that. Alonso, you'd go for the offense. Santander is pure offense. So is Teoscar Hernandez in left. Where if you got Bellinger and Walker, and if you're able to get Nico Horner in that trade as well, which might be a pipe dream, your defense is absolutely incredible. And your offense will be just fine because you're going to add a ton of speed. Well, not with Walker, but Bellinger and Horner would add a ton of speed. You got a full year of Jazz that opens up a lane for Dominguez to play every day. You have Volpe, and the Yankees can create offense in other ways. That's what I was saying. The day that Soto went to the Mets, I'm saying you have to change your approach. Go run prevention and use the speed to your advantage finally. You have these gigantic bases for a reason. I don't know why the Yankees don't use it. Now if you have Horner and Bellinger with Jazz and Volpe and Dominguez in the same lineup, you can use the speed. So that might be the way they go. You're not replacing Soto's bat. We know that. But Santander would get you close because that's a 40 home run type of bat, as is Pete Alonso. But you're sacrificing a lot of defense for that offense. Like a lot of it.
I can live with one bad defensive addition if you're upgrading other areas. So if you upgrade third base defensively, then I wouldn't totally care if first baseman is just average. But you also have to think about other things, such as we're not guaranteed to get Aaron Judge to hit 58 home runs like he did last year. And, you're not guaranteed that. Who knows? Like, I mean, Stanton's my favorite player by a mile. But let's be honest, he doesn't play all 162 games. So you take him out the lineup for a month, because on average he misses a month of a season anyway. You take him out, and then there is just no power. So outside Aaron Judge. So then I really think that we have to add minimum 30 home run power to the lineup for me to even be comfortable. So I do think it's a must. So I mean, first base, I don't think I need a Gold Glover at first. If the rest of the infield is quality, like Volpe, Jazz at second, and a third baseman like Bregman, or Jazz at third, and a quality second baseman, then I can live with the first baseman, which is average. But we need some power in that lineup. We absolutely need a serious injection of power in that lineup. Probably one bat, and then I can live with other bats being less power heavy. But just because we can't replace Juan Soto doesn't mean we give up on power entirely, because we need that. We do need some serious power in there to protect Aaron Judge.
Christian Walker has that, though. He's a 30 home run guy 3 of the last 3. Well, he had 26 last year. 36, 33, 26 were his last 3 seasons. Is that not power? And like a lot of those.
Yeah, but I
I
don't like the 33 years old thing. That's just the only
that I get, but I mean, if we go add like a bat first guy, I would prefer. I guess I'd go Santander before I go Alonso, because the switch hitting ability, that will play well for the Yankees because they don't have to worry about lefty-righty matchups with him. So if we're going to go with the offensive first guy, I'd go Santander before I went Alonso.
Okay. I can live with that. Tats, where would you go for power?
I go for a guy that Rob brought up, and his name was just brought up again in the chat. And get Bellinger, and then try to get Santana on a 1-year deal. Or even if you have to give him a 2-year deal with an option, just to make it a little more interesting for him. But and then because Lou Boogie actually laid it out, actually very smart, smartly. He's like 1 year Carlos Santana, which Rob would sign up for. It was one of his offseason moves. With the Bellinger trade, next year we signed Tucker and moved Belly to first. I mean, that would be the perfect scenario, but you have to be able to sign Tucker. We don't know if he's going to enjoy his time in Chicago and sign up long term.
Yeah, it's just Santana's not really a power bat necessarily. He's a 20 home run guy now. It's all about defense. His range is ridiculous. His defense is stupidly good, but offensively, he's not great. He's average.
Yep. No, I think they're on. I think the Yankees have been on the right track with trying to balance contact and defense, and that's pretty much where you would get that with Bellinger and Walker. It's too one-sided with somebody like Alonso. So I would take him completely out of the equation if it's solely my decision. I've never had an interest in bringing in Santander. Even with that, the power bat is just too much of a risk, on defense. Where if you're able to focus more on run prevention, you don't need the power bat to hit a 3-run home run every other at bat. It's you just want to kind of keep the line moving, and the bats that the players they're looking at have the bats to do that. And I think the Yankees are really setting themselves up for more success than we think if they could get these deals actually done. Because there's too many things out in limbo right now to know exactly which direction the Yankees are going to be going in next. We can't read their game of chess right now.
I don't even think the Yankees know what direction they're going in next. because Cashman's got 100 things in the works right now. We know he's always kicking the tires, as he says, on different players. But I understand where Donald's coming from because you have to try and somewhat replace what you're losing with Soto.
Yeah.
You can't do that with just speed. I understand that completely. But I like Hernandez, but the thing is, if you sign an outfielder, you have to move Judge back to center. And I think the Yankees want to avoid that.
They want to keep him in right.
I think they want to put him back in
Oh,
right
yeah, he needs to stay. Yeah, he needs to be in right. For sure.
So if you put Santander in left, you're going to be in for a circus. And Hernandez would be the same thing. That's why I want Bellinger in the first base.
He could play first, Santander.
He could, but then if you get Bellinger and Santander, that could help. But then you got to go get a defensive-minded second baseman to make sure that the throws are good. Because I don't know if Santander is going to break his hand trying to catch a Jazz Chisholm throw.
I want to pick up on TC Steele's. Bro, let's bring up TC Steele's comment. We don't need 40 home runs everywhere, Donald. 40 home run guys everywhere, Donald. Well, let's go through the lineup right now. First base. We don't have a first baseman right now, right? Second base. Jazz maybe give you 30, maybe. Volpe's not giving you any power. Third base. Don't have a third baseman. So left field, don't have a left fielder. Dominguez center field, we don't know. You're definitely not probably going to get 30 home runs from him in his first full year. Right field, Aaron Judge, and then DH Stanton. So legitimately, we're not getting 40 home run guys everywhere. We're barely getting them anywhere. It's Aaron Judge and Stanton, but Stanton's not going to give you 40 home runs anyway because he is not going to play a full season. So. What I'm saying is you probably need a little bit more power protection for Aaron Judge. One bat. Give me one bat that can give me 30 home runs. And then I can live with more defensive-minded guys to build around. But we need another power bat. One power bat to go with Aaron Judge and Big G, I think would certainly help even out the loss of Soto.
Yep. What is that? Doran Stauber, welcome. Hi, all new sub here. My 2 cents on the matter is the Yankees ownership and brass need to recognize that there is a 3 to 5 year window of contention with Judge and Cole. They have to go all in. Rob, what do you think on his comment?
No argument there.
Nope, not one.
But the thing is, the all-in move is gone. So
yeah,
now it's about putting together the best team you possibly can and still remaining at the top of the American League because I still think they can. I'm seeing way too much talk that, it's a blessing in disguise that he's gone. It's not. It's Juan Soto. Losing him is going to suck till the end of that contract, I would assume, but you can still field a very good team without him. And that's what the Yankees have to think about doing is now they can improve the overall team. Because last year they were offense first, terrible defense, terrible base running, and good pitching. Now they can be good across the board with the right moves. But I completely understand where Donald's coming from that you do need some pop. You absolutely need some pop. That's why I like Walker because he gives you both. He gives you power and he gives you the glove. But you got to worry about that age. Will he regress faster than Alonso would or Santander would? There's always those question marks. So they have to go all in. Max Fried's certainly a good start. Devin Williams is a fantastic move. And now they still have plenty of money. Bellinger would help. Horner would be great. I love the fact that Dominguez is going to actually get a chance to play. And I want a first base. I want defense across the board because last year watching that team play defense was giving me headaches and it was making me want to throw stuff. And I don't want to be that person anymore. So I want to be able to watch a good, sound team play baseball. And the Yankees thought they were that, but they weren't. And now they have a chance to be that team while still fielding a very good lineup. But you do need to protect Aaron Judge. He's the best player on this team by far, and Stanton's the second best. The thing is, Walker added to this lineup right now, he'd be your second best hitter in terms of stats from last year. That's what we're dealing with, guys. After Aaron Judge, it is a barren wasteland of offense.
That's right.
So
we do need power.
You absolutely need power. That's why I wouldn't be too opposed to Santander, but I'm just saying get ready for some circus acts in left field. But we dealt with it with Soto for a season. If Santander's hitting 35 a year, are we going to care that much? But I would rather our infield defense be sound because watching DJ last year or Rizzo with the concussion, it was just terrible. I would prefer a good defensive first baseman. So that could be Bellinger, that could be Nathaniel Lowe, that could be Christian Walker.
Yeah. What's happening with Teoscar Hernandez? Have we heard anything about that?
I think it's Dodgers or bust, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't see him going anywhere else. He just won a World Series. They're still, DJ's still here for some reason. I think if he's not a Dodger, I'd be shocked. He's going to go to a contending team. So Dodgers, Yankees, maybe Boston looks at him, Toronto, the teams that finished second, third, fourth, fifth in the Soto race could all be looking for him.
I mean, he would be kind of ideal. You stick him in left field, you go Dominguez center field, keep Judge and right. I mean, that's ideal. Then you can make your acquisition for a first baseman. I mean, I've always been a big advocate of that. Another one we not brought up is Jurickson Profar. That's someone who's going to give you decent defense plus 24 home runs. I like Jurickson Profar.
I'm not opposed to Profar at all. I think he's a really good ball player. I would definitely see what his interest is. Absolutely. The options that are available, I don't think you need to jump right into a Santander type player because there are still other players out there that have both defense and a bat. Are they all the options free agents? No, but the trades are not so too far out. They're players that they're able to trade for. Nathaniel Lowe, that's like Rob wanted, that's gaining traction. That's one. See, you can always see what the interest is with Luis Arias. Like there are first basemen with bats that you can get. There are outfielders with bats you can get. That still have legitimate defensive prowess. But I think the Yankees, the other thing, they need to continue really solidifying the infield. That's what they need to get because of the pitching they have a lot of ground ball pitches. And we saw the effect of that last year when the defense would collapse. And then we're screaming about the pitchers giving up 3 runs where none of them were earned. They're all on errors. So it's the Yankees are in that tight of a spot where they have a lot of issues to take care of, but 1 or 2 moves can really narrow it down to now you have a shorter path going into the spring to plug the rest of the holes.
Let's see. Any chance we can get Vlad this year? I'd give up my left blank for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But yeah, we're not getting him until the offseason. If he decides he wants to sign here, that's going to be a competition and a half to get that dude. He just turned down a huge contract. I think it was, they said well over $300 million. If we can get Vlad Jr., sign me the fuck up, but I don't think that's realistic right now. That's an offseason move, as is Kyle Tucker. I think there was another comment. Is there any chance the Cubs can deal Tucker before he puts on a Cub uniform? In MLB The Show, maybe. But in a perfect world, yes. The Yankees can say, hey, we'll give you so-and-so for I don't think it's going to happen. I think those moves are offseason moves. That's why Bellinger makes so much sense because he's possibly a 1-year thing, and I don't think that's gonna. It wouldn't hinder your pursuit of a Vlad or a Murakami or a Tucker for next season.
Yeah, and if he from the strike zone started, he turned down $344 million. So no, he's going to get paid when his time comes. But just wanted to shout out NFE's channel, The Strike Zone. If you are new here and you are not familiar with the Strike Zone, make sure you do go over and subscribe to his channel. He does a lot of great work.
Naylor. What would you say about Josh Naylor? Talking about a guy that had 108 RBIs, and that was just last year, 108 RBIs. And the year before that, 97 RBIs and a 308 batting average. So he's going to give you a better offense.
Yeah, you kind of break it up there, Donald. But no, I get what you're saying with Naylor. I have no issues with him whatsoever. I don't know if there's another player on the Yankees that would be too kind to him. I don't know. It's because of the history of the back and forth with Cole. Do you think that Cole would? I think Cole would move on from it. My personal opinion. You know, it's all about winning. But what do you guys think? You think Naylor's a guy that they would bring in, knowing that there's a little animosity between those two?
They brought in Josh Donaldson, and him and Garrett Cole hate each other apparently, and they were high-fiving in the dugout during the 2022 season. I think these are all professionals. It's not like It's not like Josh Naylor threatened to put a gun to his head or anything. He did this, and we've mocked him for that for 3 years now. So at the end of the day, if the whole goal is to try to win, Josh Naylor would certainly be a good addition. I just don't know if what Cleveland's asking price is going to be.
Yeah, well, I think it's that's one of the narratives I've heard. I think it's stupid. You know, like you brought up with Donaldson. It's almost like with the fans, like a lot of the back to Bregman or some of these other guys that were kind of like the enemies of our enemies. Once they come over and put a uniform on, does it really matter? As long as they're contributing to the success, it's open arms from us. Got a request to pull up this comment here. With it seems the Marlins. It's from Anthony Manzano. The Marlins are a complete rebuild. What do you guys think we would have to give up for Jesus, Luzardo, Sandy? These were players that we kind of talked about the previous offseason. Rob, is your opinion on any of those guys changed, or we just kind of that boat's kind of sailed off?
No, they're both coming off of injuries. Alcantara hasn't pitched. He didn't pitch all of last year, and Luzardo had injuries last year as well. The Cubs want Luzardo, apparently, so I think that's going to happen. Cubs have a good farm system of bats that we don't have that would entice the Marlins. That's why I thought last year we made a lot of sense to trade with them. Luzardo's a gamble because he's constantly hurt. He's got great talent. He's constantly hurt, and we don't really need it now. We have Rodon, we have Fried. There's really no need for a third lefty. And Wrestling with the Devil, a Lee Cole 111 podcast, just subscribed. We appreciate you. He said he's going to share it on his channel, so thank you very much. And hey, it looks like you've got a channel as well, so go subscribe. If you're a wrestling fan, I know I am. So welcome to the family, Lee.
Yep. Yeah, you were more than welcome to, and anybody that has a channel. You want to drop the link in the chat. We don't. We do not beat down on other channels. We always try to give our utmost support. So drop the links to your channels if you so choose. Same thing for you, Strike Zone. So I think that the longer the news gets delayed with Bellinger, I think the creativity and sometimes I don't want to say craziness because with these are legitimate ball players that are being brought up. You know, they might not be the perfect fit for the Yankees, but they're still a fit nonetheless. But I think right now, like I said, the move right now, the next move that needs to be made has to be Bellinger. That news has to, and I think once that happens, everything else that the Yankees are working on, I think it'll all fall into place.
Yeah, that's got to be the next domino to fall, is what happens with Bellinger. Is there anyone else involved in the trade? How much money? All that stuff. And then they'll move on after that. Because I really think Bellinger is best suited for the outfield, but that could mean they go with Santander or Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah.
So it's a waiting game, really. They've added a closer, they've added a starter, but they haven't done anything else. And Cashman knows there's still plenty of holes to plug in this roster, specifically on the offensive side. And you still got to get some lefties in the bullpen as well. A lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done. And I like Doran's outfield, Judge, Belly, Jason Dominguez. I like it. That's where I would go. And I'd go get Christian Walker for first base.
And appreciate the membership, Wrestling with the Devil, A. Cole 111 podcast. Appreciate the support. But that is going to wrap things up on this Monday. Hope everybody does enjoy the rest of their day. We will be back Wednesday, 10 a.m. As always, we have reached 950 subs, so thank you to all the new members of the family. Appreciate and love every single one of you. So with that being said, make sure you hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. This is the Pinstripe Chronicles, where fans become family. So just make sure you wear those pinstripes with pride and play hard.